everyone, I'm Kez, and in this tutorial video we're going to expand on our Lottie Add-on Quick Start Guide by taking a closer look at some of the extra settings available to use with your Lottie Animations. Let's start by opening a new blank module. From here I want to import a Lottie animation, which is done by hovering over the Add Layer menu and selecting Lottie. However, you can see there's no Lottie option here for me to select. That's because even though I already have the Lottie add-on installed, you must also manually enable it for each module you want to use it in. Doing that is as simple as going to the Module General Options tab and clicking Add-ons, selecting Lottie from the list of add-ons, and then clicking the blue Enable Add-on button. Now when I hover over Add Layer, you can see Lottie is now an available option. If this isn't the case for you, or you're unsure how to get started with the Lottie add-on, please be sure to check out our Lottie Add-on Quick Start Guide, as that's where we cover all aspects of getting up and running with it, from installation to basic settings. This tutorial follows on from that one. Okay, let's click the Lottie option. As you can see, there are plenty of Lottie animations there to choose from. I also have some custom animations in my Lottie library, so I'm going to choose one of those by hovering over it and clicking the plus button. So we can see the animation a little easier, I'm going to resize it using the drag handle at the bottom right of its container. As we learned in the Lottie Add-on Quick Start Guide, Lottie animations and your regular slider revolution animations are played using separate play buttons. If I click on the main timeline's play button, which is here, you'll see the timeline is playing, but pretty much nothing appears to be happening animation-wise. Let's quickly change that by adding an animation to our main layer. The fastest way to do that is to use one of Slider Revolution's presets. These can be found by going to the Layer Options tab, clicking on the Animation subsection, and playing around with the options available in the Keyframes settings panel. To make this fast, I'm just going to put a quick fade in at the start of the layer we already have selected by clicking the In drop-down menu, selecting Simple Transition, and then fade in. Now if I press the play button on the timeline, you can see the layer has a fade in animation applied to it. To really illustrate this though, I'd like the fade in to last a little longer, which is as simple as clicking on the layer's animation strip, then dragging the right side out to extend the time the animation takes to play. Now when I click play, the fade in animation takes much longer. But we still haven't seen our Lottie animation play. For that, select the Lottie animation either by clicking on the animation itself on the canvas, or on the track in the timeline area that relates to it. Then, click the Lottie subsection link in the Layer Options tab. Now you can preview your Lottie animation with the play button, or you can also do it by clicking the refresh button. But now we can't see the preset fade-in animation that we just added a moment ago, so how can we see both of our animations playing at the same time? For that, all you have to do is save your module and then preview it. So there it is, our preset animation playing at the same time as our Lottie animation. To see it again, close the window and click preview again. Okay, let's close down the preview window and take a look at some of the other options available in the Lottie settings panel that we didn't cover in the Lottie Add-on Quick Start Guide. The first one is the duration field, which you can see in the Lottie settings panel. The duration field shows you how long the selected Lottie animation will run in milliseconds. You can see that the value in this example is 6,000. If we halve the value in there to 3,000, it would mean the animation will run twice as fast. If we double the original default value to 12,000, it means the animation will take twice as long to complete. Be aware that if you make a change to the duration of your Lottie animation, but you don't notice any change to the speed of your Lottie animation when played directly on the canvas, you'll instead need to save and preview your module to see the change. The figure shown in the brackets to the right of the duration field is the default runtime. This will never change no matter how many times you change the duration speed. So if you try a few different durations and decide you just want the default after all, just change the duration back to what you see in those brackets. And finally, Changing the value in the duration field only applies to your Lottie animation. It doesn't affect any other animations you have on your canvas. Moving on, below the duration settings, you'll see the autoplay setting. If autoplay is set to on, your Lottie animation will start playing as soon as the animation layer is displayed. If you toggle it to off, the animation will have to be manually triggered with some kind of interaction, such as requiring a user to click on a play button, for example. If you want to learn more about setting up interactions, I recommend taking a look at the Slider Evolution guide on how to make interactive Lottie animations. But if you want to quickly apply some simple interactivity, look under the Interactivity Settings box and choose an interaction from the drop-down menu there. For example, if I choose Click, that means the animation will only play once I click on it. To test that, click Save and Preview. You can see nothing is happening as the animation won't start until I click on it. And as you've probably already worked out, setting an interaction overrides autoplay if the interaction is applied directly to the animation rather than to a separate element such as a separate play button, because interactions set from the drop-down list take priority. But that's enough on interactions for this video. Once again, refer to the Slider Evolution guide for more detailed information on how to set up more complex interactions. Endless loop is another handy setting, but we covered that in our Lottie Add-on Quick Start guide, so let's move on to renderer settings. The first field you can see in renderer settings is the renderer. If we click the drop-down menu, you can see we have two possible renderer options to choose from, SVG or Canvas. The choice here is basically between maximizing performance or maximizing the accuracy of your animation. If maximizing performance is your priority, choose Canvas. If maximizing accuracy is your priority, choose SVG. In most cases, you'll find the Canvas setting will render your animation just how you want it to render. Choose Canvas and then save and preview to see how your animation looks. If it looks good to you, then you're good to leave it on the Canvas setting. If you choose Canvas and then notice irregularities in your preview, which might happen if you have a very complex Lottie animation or if you have an animation that relies on advanced effects, then you may want to choose SVG instead. Choosing SVG will sacrifice performance in favor of a more accurate rendering of the complexity in your animation. Again, just save and preview to see how it looks. The next option in the renderer settings panel is Lottie Size. You have two choices, contain or cover. At the start of this tutorial, we saw how to resize an animation using the drag handle on the lower right corner of the animation's rectangular container. The Lottie Size option gives you even more control over resizing your animation by allowing you to specify how your Lottie animation should fit the rectangle it's contained within. If you choose Contain, the Lottie add-on will make sure that your animation's graphic is neatly visible within its container rectangle. This is usually the ideal setting. However, sometimes it can make your Lottie animation look smaller than you might want if your animation's container is a little large for it. To solve this, you can try the Cover option. Selecting Cover prioritizes filling your animation's container rectangle as much as possible with your animation's graphic. This will make your animation appear larger. However, just like you can see here, it may also cause some of your animation's edges to get clipped by the edge of the rectangle. The correct option to choose will depend on your unique Lottie animation and also how you feel about the way it looks. Just experiment to see which setting you like best for each animation you use. In the case of the animation we're using here, the Contain option works best. The next option in the renderer settings panel is the progressive load setting. Leaving this set to off means your animation won't start playing until all the elements required for the entire animation to play are ready to go. If you toggle it to on, your animation will start playing as soon as the elements required for it to start are ready, even if additional elements required for later on in the animation haven't loaded in yet. This can be handy if your animation is more complex in nature, such as if it has a lot of moving parts or effects. Additionally, if you sacrificed a little performance for accuracy by selecting SVG as your renderer, then toggling progressive load to on can help balance that out, because starting your animation as soon as it's able to be started does offer a little performance boost to the rendering of your animation. If you don't need that boost though, if your Lottie animation is a fairly straightforward animation, then leaving progressive load to its default setting of off will work just fine. Finally, you can see there's a setting panel labeled Lottie Editor, under which is a Style Editing Active toggle button that is set to off by default. Toggling this to on opens up a whole bunch of options that are beyond the scope of this particular video, but in short, you can use the variety of options you see there to modify the strokes and colors of your Lottie animation. If you want to learn more about doing that, you'll find a link below to a complete tutorial on changing colors of a Lottie animation. And that's it. Between the Lottie Add-on Quick Start Guide and this video, you should now have a good understanding of the Lottie Add-on's various settings and be able to use them to work with integrating Lottie animations into your modules. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Start your Slider Revolution 6 experience now, the world's most powerful WordPress builder.